Hey guys, it's good to see you all. Hope you're doing well. And it's time for business math class. Hope you've been missing me. It's been weird lately. So anyhow, hope you enjoy this video. It's going to be less than 15 minutes because that's all the time I could fit on one YouTube upload. So I got all of your questions today, so I'm going to kind of hopefully address some of those as best as I can here. So first I wanted to say that you guys are in a historical moment. Number one, the coronavirus, okay, is like a crazy, crazy virus. You're sitting at like the worst decline in the stock market since the Great Depression, okay? It actually is not quite as bad as the crisis in 2008 yet, but it could approach it. But last night I predicted that the stock market would make a huge bounce today, 1228, and if you didn't see the numbers here today, I don't know if you can see that, but anyways, 9.38% it went up, the S&P 500, and 11% for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is like the top, I think, 30 companies in the United States. And that actually is a record jump today. So, I guessed right, I guess. I wouldn't count on me guessing right every day, but it was a huge jump today. I myself personally have not, I did not sell out on all my stocks before the big crash because of the coronavirus, because I knew it would recover and it will probably fall tomorrow. I foresee like a 5-10% fall tomorrow. It usually does that, but it'll eventually recover, and I'm not too worried about it. I did switch some of my money to bonds because bonds are lower risk, but I only really switched about maybe 10% of my money to bonds. So, I really didn't change my portfolio too much during this crisis because I knew I had a lot of time before I retire here. So hopefully this video is going to be very beneficial for you. I'm not an expert, but I do know a good bit, probably more than you guys. So first, this is an important slide, 5 money mistakes to make in your early 20s, and you guys are going to be there soon. So first mistake is waiting until you're 30 to start saving for retirement instead of in your early 20s. Okay, that can cost you up to $1 million, okay, in a mistake. If you make, roughly $50,000 to $100,000 a year, that could be $1 million mistake. Buying a vehicle that's too expensive, okay? So I think Dave Ramsey or someone said you want to keep vehicle costs less than 10% of your income. Having too much student debt, having pets, don't be content with a dead-end job. Yeah, I'm not sure where I got these from, but I found it, and I figured it'd be good to remind you guys of. So anyhow, let's see what we need to do before we invest, okay? Investing is about the long term. Don't think investing is about getting rich quick, okay? You're not going to be able to make money, like a trader on the stock market because, number one, it's a really tough profession, and number two, it takes an incredibly amount of math skills and focus and patience to learn the system, which even for me, it's mind-boggling, okay? I attempted to be a stock trader for, maybe a year of my life, and I really just got a lot of frustration out of it and lost a couple $1,000s. So it's not really something that I would recommend you guys trying to do ever. All right, so do not try to trade stocks on the short term. Investing is for the long term, as I said before. But before you invest, you want to get out of debt, okay? Pay off student debt. Not necessarily paying off student debt, that's debatable there. Paying off any debt is probably a good idea there. So I think I accidentally have a typo here on student debt, so let me cross it off. If you have like very, very low interest on your debt, that's student debt, then you should probably invest even before you pay off your debt. Because if you can make, say, 7% on the stock market per year, okay, and when I say stock market, I don't mean buying individual stocks. I mean in mutual funds, in the whole entire market, in something that I call that's called ETFs, which I'll explain later. Um, yeah, so you would probably take that 7% over a student loan that's charging you like 2 to 3% in interest. All right, now if your student loan debts are high, I would probably pay those off first. Um, Another very important thing is have an emergency fund. Okay, don't use your retirement fund as your emergency fund. You want to have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in an emergency fund. So, real quick math here. If I make, say, let's go with 36,000 a year roughly. So that's a pretty, okay salary around Johnstown. That would be roughly 3,000 a month. So you would divide that by 12, you get 3,000 a month. Okay? And so, 3 to 6 months, that's a huge range. Well, it depends on your job and how stable you think it is, and how hard it will be to find another job. If you think you can find another job pretty easily, then 3 months is probably good to have. And you don't really need to worry about having a 6-month emergency fund. So, for me being a teacher, I would probably shoot for a 3-month emergency fund. And so you would look for trying to save roughly about $9,000 in your emergency fund before you really start investing. Okay? Now, not all of my $3,000 a month goes towards expenses. So, I would probably say $9,000 is a bit excessive there for somebody that can find the job pretty quickly and is making that amount of money. So maybe $2,000 would be expenses. So maybe you'd have an emergency fund of around $6,000 roughly. Okay. Now that's only if you're, if you think you can find a job really easily. Now, 9,000 is probably a good safe number there. It's kind of debatable depending on your situation. Are you paying a lot for your mortgage every month? Are you paying a lot for rent, or is your rent really cheap? So it varies depending on the person. Okay, so you guys know the stock market is risky. Okay, that's important. First thing. But not being involved in the stock market is also very, very risky, okay? So because inflation will make your money disappear, the stock market will generally beat inflation, okay? So, like if I had $1,000, after 10 years, my $1,000 is now like half its value if there was 4% inflation, okay? Fortunately, there's only like maybe 2% inflation if the economy is doing well. So it really is like, it would take about 20 years for your money to decrease by half its value. But the stock market usually beats inflation, okay? And on the long term, it always beats inflation. So that is why you want to become an investor here, all right? All right, so here is a rule called the Rule of 72. And this shows you how quickly your money doubles through investing. Now, historically, the stock market has gotten not 1% there, Vinny, 10%. Okay? Yes, that's all you put 1% there. No, it's 10%. Stock market gets about 10% annually in gains. And bonds, depending on the bond funds, 5% and maybe sometimes up to 7%. But bonds generally are a lot less than the stock market and how much they can gain per year. So if you are getting 10% per year, the Rule of 72 says take 72, the number 72, you're always using 72, divided by your percentage, okay, that you gain per year. So you're gaining 10% per year on the stock market. Okay, so you take 72 divided by 10, your money will double in 7.2 years, okay, roughly. So it's pretty quick. You could go from $1,000 to $2,000 just by being in the stock market for 7.2 years. So the sooner you start, the more times you have to double. Okay? Yeah, so anyways, there is a calculator here that you can see how quickly money doubles. It's kind of fun, but for now, I'm going to skip it here. All right, so how to invest your money, places to put your investments. All right, so 401ks, 503bs. These are work-sponsored plans, okay, for retirement, work-sponsored plans. And sometimes you get to pick where to put your money there, and sometimes they dictate where to put your money there. But usually they let you choose, like, you want to be more aggressive or you want to be more conservative, these work-sponsored plans. Okay, so the difference between 401k and 503b, the 503bs are for nonprofit organization, and 401k is for for-profit companies, okay? But they both have basically the same goal, and that's a safer retirement, okay? Now, if you don't even work for a company, you can have great tax advantages for saving for retirement by having something we call an IRA. Okay, an IRA stands for individual retirement accounts. Okay. Now, generally IRAs you get set up through work. Oftentimes, you can tell your workplace to send your money to the IRA, and they won't take out taxes for it. So you pay no taxes up front, so you have more money, and that money will grow quicker, so to speak. Okay. The bad thing about an IRA, though, is when you do have withdrawals from it, when you're retiring, you do have to pay taxes on your earnings. Okay. I myself have what is called a Roth IRA. Okay, and you can contribute up to $6,000 per year of any money that you can get. Okay, the key thing with a Roth IRA, and what I really like about it compared to regular IRAs, is you get no taxes when you withdraw on a Roth IRA. So if my portfolio goes from $50,000 to $5 million, I can become a millionaire, and every single $1 million that I have there has no taxes on it because it was in a Roth IRA. Okay, now my $50,000 will never become $5 million. Okay, unless the stock market does incredible, or I just pick some crazy company that does super well, which I would never gamble on anyways. So that's my take there. All right. So I'm going to cut the video here, and I want to go over this slide with you guys and answer some of your questions. So there's going to be part 2 of this video that you will have to watch. All right, guys.